All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Happy almost Friday. I am Emily. I am the community manager for Designlab and also the student advocate for UX Academy for Designlab. So I'm so happy everyone is here. Really quickly, if everyone can just type in the chat, say hello, say who you are, where you're from, just to say hi to everyone, that'd be great. And then, as usual with all of our webinars, if you have any questions, please toss them in the questions tab on the right. So that way, we can make sure we get that answered at the end of the webinar. But I have Louisa here today. She's with BeMyApp, which is an awesome company where they basically put together and just kind of coordinate a lot of hackathons. And I know that's why everyone is here to get more information on hackathons. So yeah, hello, hi everyone. Oh my gosh, we have a lot of people. We have everywhere. We have California. We have East Coast, West Coast. We have folks from Germany, folks from Nigeria. This is amazing. Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. All right, cool. So reiterating, I have Louisa here with me from BeMyApp. She's going to give us more info on hackathons and kind of what they are. But yeah, say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're from, and then questions, put them in the questions tab, so that way we can make sure we get them answered at the end. And then we have some polls set up just to kind of gauge familiarity with hackathons and whether or not you've participated. And we just are really curious as to what everyone's level of familiarity with hackathons are. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Louisa, and then I'm going to jump off camera.
Thanks, Emily. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do the wonderful share screen. Get that set up and ready to go. All right, everyone can see that, it looks like.
Yep, we're good.
All right, awesome. The worst part is when you go away and then you can't see it anymore and you're like, wait, am I sharing or not sharing? So it's always that dilemma, right? Thank you all for joining this webinar. To start out with, the webinar is what the heck is a hackathon? So I'm going to be talking about what a hackathon is, why designers should participate in them, tips for success, and some upcoming events that we actually have planned that I think you might want to join. Just kind of reiterate kind of what Emily said. So my name is Louisa Hansen. I'm the Community Outreach Manager at BeMyApp. BeMyApp is our event agency that specializes in the production and execution of technical events such as hackathons, online conferences, workshops. We've done design jams. We've done incubators. We've kind of done it all. Like if it's a technical event and our clients have been interested in it, we've done it. Over the 10 years that we've been in production, we've organized over 100 or 1,000 plus events. And I know we've reached at least 100 countries with those events too. And we have offices in the US and in Europe. I'm actually located in Boise, Idaho, of all places. So little place on the west side of the United States, if you're not familiar with the geography of the US. And then we also have remote employees all over the world as well. So what is a hackathon? A hackathon is an intense and fun collaborative marathon where hack means to create something entirely new from things that already exist. So you get developers, designers, idea generators together and form them with tech partners and with organizers of hackathons for a period of time to develop amazing new products and solutions in response to challenges posed by organizers and sponsors of these events. So an example, just to kind of give you an idea of what a hackathon is in an actual context, is we organized the GSK ImmunoHack. GSK is a pharmaceutical company, and they were interested in leveraging technology to transform how vaccine education and information was educated or communicated to the public and provide healthcare professionals with effective tools for discussing vaccine recommendations and guidelines with patients. So we organized a 48-hour hackathon, and there was actually an opportunity for incubation for the winning teams. We did this event in San Francisco. We invited healthcare professionals, designers, developers, idea generators, marketers, you name it, to create solutions focused on targeting 3 areas or 3 groups that need these resources. So one being parents, another being adults, and the healthcare professionals themselves. And then an example of a winning project that was created at this event was we had a team that created an iPad game where the parents are in the waiting room and they don't have anything to do. So they play this interactive game that lets you discover facts and the benefits of vaccines through gameplay. And then after they played the game, it gave them some really good resources and some questions to ask their healthcare providers when they were in the appointment with them. And then another hackathon that we organized was the NBC Universal Hackathon. NBC Universal was interested in finding ways to improve viewer engagement through emerging technologies such as AI or IoT, VR, AR, kind of a plethora of different technologies. And we did this event in Miami. It was 24 hours, and we had a lot of different people from developers, designers, idea generators join us, and they made solutions to improve that engagement with using NBC Universal's business partners like Telemundo, Golf Now, and Sci-Fi. And then on top of that, they used technology partners that were at the event like IBM, or not IBM, Google Cloud, Amazon Alexa, and they utilize those products and those technologies to help bring their projects to life. And then one of the winning teams came up with an app for fan interaction and community building through interaction, or through being able to chat online while watching your show at the same time on the same screen. And a fun fact about this is I know for a fact that that winning team included a UX designer. So definitely important skills to have. Now that I've given you some examples of some hacks we've ran, I figured it's important to talk about the two formats that you might run into with hackathons. There's the in-person hackathon and a virtual hackathon. Obviously, we are not able to host in-person hackathons right now, but I wanted to talk about both so then you can prepare for both events. So with an in-person hackathon, it tends to be a little more intimate, 50 to 200 plus people. You're limited to the location that you live in. So if you live in the Bay Area or New York or London or Paris, there might be a lot of hackathons for you to attend. But I live in Boise, Idaho. There's not a lot of tech events. There's not a big tech scene in general. So finding in-person hackathons is a little slim. And besides that, the time frame is really, really narrow. So these events normally happen over a weekend. So they range from 24 to 48 hours. If it's a 48-hour hackathon, it starts on Friday, goes to Sunday. And then 24 would be Saturday to Sunday. And you might find some that maybe start on Thursday, may end on Monday, depending on the timeline. It might be centered around a conference too. We normally see more weekday stuff when it's involved with a conference. And then on top of that, your activities, mentors, participants, and demos are all conducted in person, but there might be a little bit of overlap with some online resources as well. And then with virtual hackathons, they tend to be a lot bigger, just because you're not limited to those constraints that you are with an in-person hackathon. I did list, it's normally 100 to 1,000 people, but we just wrapped up a hackathon where we had 5,000 people register. Not all of them created projects, but we had that many people that were interested in the hackathon. You're not limited to geolocation constraints at all. So you can, like me, if I want to join a hackathon globally, then I can, even though I'm in Boise. So that's a great feature. But note that when you are looking at those online hackathons, make sure to look at the terms and conditions and see if there's constraints, if they're limiting it to certain countries or certain countries are excluded. You just kind of have to look out for that. We actually are organizing a hackathon right now that does limit it to US only. So just keep that in mind. And then you have a longer time frame. Normally these hackathons are 2 to 5 weeks. With everything being online, even though I know with even going into a boot camp, with everything being online, you kind of have to manage your time differently. So that's why they are a longer time frame, and allows people to form teams, to get to know about the event and be able to submit their projects. So you normally see like 2 to 5 weeks. I've seen shorter ones, I've seen longer ones. You also have time for the judges to deliberate prizes and winners, and then possibly some time before to form teams. And then obviously all the activities are conducted online versus in person. And then I want to talk about the main phases of hackathons, because this will help you understand the flow of how things work and what to expect when you walk into an event, if it's in person. And then also I'll talk about some of the differences with it being virtual as well. So we have ideation, idea pitches, team formation, development, final presentations, and winners announcements. So ideation is like zero base. You're preparing for the hackathon, possibly watching webinars, reading insights, asking questions, doing the research about the challenge or the company that you're going to go to that hack for. And then once the hackathon starts, you have idea pitches. So people get on stage at in-person events and they pitch for 1 to 2 minutes about the idea that they have in mind, what they're looking for in a team. And then on top of that, that's an opportunity for people who don't have teams to pitch themselves and their skills. So if you went and you wanted to tell people that you're a UX designer and you're looking for a team, you'd go on stage and tell them that. And then in online, it's a little different. So it might be via a webinar that you're doing this. And then that also kind of lumps in with the team formation. So online, for the team formation idea pitches, they kind of go hand in hand. You might do a webinar and then post in Slack about your skill sets, or go to an online forum that hackathon is hosting, and then have a conversation there. And it might lead to exchanging of emails and then having a Zoom call to really connect with those people and see if this is a right fit for a team. And then in person, the team formation is kind of like a networking event. You kind of roam the floor. People are asking questions, they're connecting, they're seeing if these people are a right fit to join their team. And then once teams have formed, then we start the fun part, the nitty gritty, the development phase. So this is where you're working on developing your solution and defining the tasks that need to be arranged and conducted in that time frame. So as a designer, you're going to be working on the prototyping, you're going to be working on the design and maybe doing some research as well to help formulate that project. And then the developers are coding and working on the back end and the front end infrastructures of that particular prototype. And then you might have marketers and idea generators that are also working on some research and working on the presentation. So you're kind of getting everything going, working, making the project. There might be workshops at that time, and then possibly some fun activities. When we do in-person events, we do drone races, we do VR challenges, we do Lego challenges. We always try to find something to do that's fun, give you a mental break. And then online, we sometimes have Twitter challenges, scavenger hunts, and some trivia as well. So it just depends on what event you tend to. They're not all going to be the same. So don't be like, oh, this lady told me that I was going to be able to go and do a VR challenge, but they don't have one. So just be prepared. You never know what activity is going to happen, but it should be fun no matter what. And then after all that's done, there's a code freeze, and then it's time for final presentations. So in person, you'd be on a stage and have a projector and be having a quick slideshow of your project and what you created. You're going to be talking in front of a panel of judges for 3 to 4 minutes, and possibly a 2-minute Q&A afterwards, depending on the time and how many teams there are that have to present. And then from there, you have the winner announcements, and you wrap things up, and the judges deliberate and pick winners. And sorry, I forgot to mention, online webinars are normal for you to do your presentations and then announcements for the winners. And then also with the final presentations online, it might just be a recording. You kind of just have to ask the hackathon organizers and keep up to date with the information to know how you're supposed to be generating your project submissions. Now that we've talked about what a hackathon is, give you kind of a rough idea of what to expect, I'm going to tell you why you should join, because designers are very valuable for hackathons. And I think that no matter who you are, there's definitely reasons to join. And here are 10 reasons I came up with, and I know I could thought of way more, but these are some reasons why you should join. One being, you get to show off your skills that you've been working so hard on. You've been attending a boot camp, you've been working with a mentor, you've been building your portfolio. And now you get to go and try this in a real use case instead of just doing the work that you've been doing via the boot camp, and kind of see what you're capable of doing. And then you get to build another use case. That's a pretty obvious reason. But the cool thing about this use case is you can go into an interview and you have a real life use case of working on a team, addressing challenges that arise in a stressful project. And then you can, when they ask you those questions, you're able to answer them with a real scenario versus being like, I would do this or I would do that. Like, you've done it and you've been able to overcome that and create a great solution off of that. Get to collaborate with diverse people. So get to work with developers, you get to work with marketers, idea generators, kind of a wide range of people, wide range of personalities. So you get that opportunity to do that before you step into a role at a company. You get to network with like-minded individuals, community leaders, and mentors. You're going to find that people that love hackathons love to engage and network and participate in these events over all the time. And so it's really great to be around those people that want to innovate and network and do something different. You get to practice public speaking. So you get to pitch yourself at the beginning at the event, trying to find a team, and then possibly be the person that's giving the demo during final pitches at the end of the event as well. The opportunity to launch projects and create possible business ventures. There's opportunities for possible incubation after the event if you're a winning team to further develop your project. And then another thing that comes up is I've seen teams that they've meshed well at a hackathon, they've created a great project, and then they've decided that they're going to create this as a startup going forward. So they're going to keep building on that project and see what they can create after the event. You start developing an entrepreneurial style of thinking, definitely disruptive, outside of the box, and you get to experience that hands-on mentality that you might not get if you didn't attend a hackathon. Possible job and freelance opportunities. It's not a guarantee, but it's a normal thing for some hackathons to have recruiters on site. Someone that's a mentor or one of the organizers might have hiring power at the company that's sponsoring the event. Another great example is we organized a hackathon in DC, and then the next year we had that same participant come back and tell us that he connected with someone at the hackathon and it led to him getting a new job. So you never know with who you're networking what it can lead to too. You get to learn about new technologies. So if there's something you're not as familiar with, whether it be AI or IoT or blockchain, you get to work with developers and work with other people and mentors that know about these technologies and see how you can integrate them into your work moving forward. And then chance to win prizes. I know that that's pretty obvious and people love that and get excited about that, but not everyone wins prizes. However, you can win products. We've done Google Home Minis, Amazon Alexas, VR headsets. One prize at a Mercedes-Benz hackathon was a little smart car that they gave away. And then cash prizes are a big thing. So we've done prize pools from $10,000 to $250,000. Normally, though, they're kind of in the range between 10 and 5 or 10,000 to 50,000. But it just depends on the hackathon. And some hackathons are just for fun and there's no prizes, and that's okay too. But no matter what, remember, even if you didn't win a hackathon, the experience that you leave with is greater than a prize. Like those other 9 reasons to attend a hackathon are really beneficial and definitely a reason why you should attend. And then let's talk about some tips for success. That way, when you go into a hackathon, even though you're a newbie and you're kind of, I don't know what to expect, like at least you got a few pointers to help you out along the way. So starting out, finding the right team. As I mentioned before, as a UX and UI designer, your skills are valuable. People get on stage all the time and are asking for designers to join their team. So you're definitely valued at a hackathon. And then, so start out by pitching yourself at the event, getting on stage at an in-person, or if it's online, posting in Slack, attending the webinars, and pitching yourself there too. And besides your skills as a UX and UI designer, also pitch the things that are different about you that can help a team. A lot of you are coming into from a different career. So maybe your past career is beneficial, and that knowledge from that is going to help you at the hackathon. So maybe you were a marketer before, or maybe it's a health tech hackathon and you used to work as a nurse. Those experiences are definitely as valuable as some other things too. And then listen to the idea pitches when that section's coming up. You might hear an idea that you're passionate about, and it's going to be way easier to find a team if you kind of have an idea of what everyone else is working on, and it shows that you're interested in working with that team. And then look for a diverse group of people. You can't just have 3 front-end developers and designer. Like, that's not going to get you very far. So you want to have maybe a few developers, both back end and front end, maybe have a marketer, maybe have an idea generator or a data scientist, but definitely kind of spread out your different skill sets. And then once you have your team, define the tasks and share the workload with your teammates. It's very important that you talk about what you're going to be able to do and what you're not going to be able to do. So that way that if someone gets too much work, then you need to find someone else to join your team that can help with the development side of things. And you also don't want to be that person that is a freeloader and doesn't help at all. Like, that's the worst, is when you have one of those people on your team. So finding that happy medium and talking and having those conversations right off the bat, so then you guys can excel moving forward. And then some pro tips from BeMyApp, because we definitely have experience with these events. The number one thing is solve one problem with one feature to one target audience. You can't do everything all at once. You can't do all the features you want to do in your first prototype. So working on one feature instead of making that great, instead of making 5 features and they're okay. So definitely playing into that. And normally you try and do one target audience. There's times there might be a little overlap, but it should be pretty concrete as to who you're targeting. Like in the example from the GSK hackathon, where they were targeting parents, like that was their main audience, instead of being like, well, anyone could play this game, and you could have adults playing it, and that would, and they might be interested in learning about vaccinations. No, they focused on the parent, and that was it. You want to use your time wisely, especially at an in-person hackathon. You don't have a lot of it, and then online hackathons, we all have lives, we all have other things going on, so you definitely have less time than you think you have. So definitely don't waste it. And then focus on the end user of your product. The nice thing about this webinar is I'm talking to a whole bunch of designers that understand that and understand the need to focus on that, because you don't want to worry about the policies, the politics, or the legal ramifications of a particular thing. You want to focus on the end user. And then done is better than perfect. There's lots of times where you're trying to add more features and you're trying to add the right touches and the right things, and then things don't get developed as quickly as they should, or they don't get completed. And so instead of having a completed prototype at your demo, you're just like, yep, this is what the website would look like, and that's it. No, you want to have something completed and done so that when you walk into demos, you feel confident. And then speaking of demos, it's really, really, really important that you nail your demo. I've seen so many teams who have really good projects, but they don't do good at their demo, and so they're not a contender for prizes. And then I have people that they might not have a really great idea, but they did a really good job at presenting it and explaining their solution, that they were a contender at the hackathon. So the first thing that my team can't stress enough, like, it's crazy how many times we tell people this and they don't listen, is assign one person to present the information. You only have 3 to 4 minutes. So if I am going to start presenting and then I'm like, okay, Jack, I'm going to hand it off to you. And Jack's like, thank you, Louisa. You wasted 10 seconds just saying that. So have one person talk. Your team can be on the side, that if there's going to be Q&A, that they're present so that they can answer questions later on in case you feel that you don't know all the information regarding the questions the judges might ask. But at least, like, just have one person, because to my next point, getting to the point is important. You have 3 to 4 minutes to explain your solution. You think that's a lot of time? It's not. It never is. You could always talk longer. It's pretty easy to go over on that time. And with that said, you want to actually shorten your presentation about 20% of what you already have, because if you're getting into that 3.5 minute mark and it's a 4-minute presentation, things happen. You definitely could stumble across your words. Something could go wrong with the tech. You could trip and fall, even though I hope that doesn't happen. It's still possible. So you want to leave yourself a little bit of wiggle room there, because at BeMyApp events, if it's a 4-minute or 3-minute presentation, we have a timer. And when the timer goes off, we're going to clap you off the stage. Like, you're done talking. The judges may ask you to finish, but there's a chance that they're not going to. So you definitely have to use your time wisely. So shortening that pitch will help a lot. And then tell a story about your pitch. Make it relatable, whether or not it's a personal experience for you or someone you know, or just an example of someone that has had to deal with this problem and how the solution would help them. An example is from the NBC Universal Hackathon. We had a participant who he was having a hard time engaging with his friends about his favorite TV show. And instead of forcing them to try and love the same TV show, he decided that it was better for him to find a community that would love the same TV show and be able to connect on a platform that way instead. And so he talked about the pains of not having that sense of community, and that led into him being able to have a great project. And he, I believe, won second place at that hackathon. And then overall, practice your presentation, keep calm, and have fun with it. You don't want to sound monotone. You don't want to sound like you don't want to be there. Like, it's supposed to be fun at the end of the day. Like, you're doing this on your own. You're not, this is volunteering. Like, you're spending your free time doing this. Like, make sure you're having fun doing it. And as a hackathon organizer, that is one of my biggest things for a successful hackathon is, did the participants enjoy it? Like, I love when people at the end of an event are telling me how much fun they had, how much of a great hackathon it was. And it's just such a great feeling to have that. And we want people to come back to our events and want to participate in more hackathons. So definitely having that fun element is very, very important. And now that I've told you some tips, give you an idea of what a hackathon is, now it's time for you to go and try it. It might be a little scary. You might not be necessarily the pro UX designer out there right now, but it's definitely your time to go try these opportunities. They're great learning experiences. Just a quick note before I get into some other slides. There's lots of ways to find them. You can just Google hackathons and see what pops up. Maybe even if you are interested in health tech, adding health tech to that. There's websites as well. You can go to some tech calendars in your area, or go to some Facebook groups that are for tech events. Those are always great resources. And there's also lots of Facebook groups that are for hackathons too. I'm in quite a few of those, and from time to time I post our hackathons in there for people to attend. And then some of the hackathons we do have coming up that I think you'll want to participate in is one being the Children's Tumor Foundation Hack for NF. So this hackathon is focused on driving innovation, accelerating research, and improving the lives of those with NF, which stands for neurofibromatosis, and other rare disease patients. So this Children's Tumor Foundation is a nonprofit, so it's a social good hackathon. Nonprofits are dear to my heart, and so it's great to work with a nonprofit and do some social good with technology. This is an online hackathon, global participation. The prize pool is $30K, and there's incubation opportunities for this hackathon. It hasn't kicked off yet. It's October 2nd through November 13th. It doesn't have any deadlines for registration when it comes to individual or team. So if you want to join 2 days before the hackathon ends, you can. You might have a harder time finding a team, but maybe you're busy the first 2 weeks of October and join October 12th. There's time. We're going to be helping support people find teams, most likely hosting a webinar, and then we have our own online platform that you're able to post questions, and so you can use the forum to try and find other teammates. And then if you can recruit teammates, that's always great too. And then below is the website, just so if you want more information or you would like to register for the event, you can go there to get all those details. And then the other hackathon we have is the GS1 US Future Proofing the Supply Chain. GS1 is the organization around the regulations of barcodes and business communication, in case no one's ever heard of them, let's be honest. But they are wanting to do a supply chain hack to address the changes that are happening rapidly with demands with products and how the supply chain hasn't been as agile when it comes to dealing with problems that occur out of nowhere. An example is with global pandemics. And so I don't know about in other countries, but in the US, we were running out of toilet paper. Like, people were buying it in panics. It was flying off the shelves. It was hard to find. And supply chains weren't expecting this craziness to happen. And so it was very unpredictable. And so all these bottlenecks occurred and all these delays happened because these supply chains weren't expecting this to happen. It is an online hackathon, and as I mentioned, we had an event that is US only. This is the US only hackathon. And then the prize pool is $30,000 US, and the hackathon has started already, but it's open until the 20th. And the great news is if you sign up today, we actually have a team formation webinar tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So you can get on and pitch yourself and find a team that way if you don't know of people that would want to join. And we have a Discord channel also that you can join and see if you can find teammates that way. So there's time definitely to still join this hackathon if you live in the US. And it's definitely an issue that's going on in our world right now. And we are needing solutions to these dilemmas that are occurring. And below is the website for you to get more information and to register as well. And that kind of wraps everything up. I want to thank you all for joining. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you about hackathons. They're great events. Even if you only can attend virtual ones, please do so. But as soon as there's in-person ones, go to one. They are so much fun. They're great energy. You get around people that are wanting to be innovative and game changers. And then if you want to connect more about hackathons, and if you have any questions, you feel free to email me at louisa@BeMyApp.com. I love LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with me there, I'm posting all the time about our different events, and just shoot me a connection and tell me that you attended the webinar. And then we also have all our events on our website. So BeMyApp.com/events is where you would find our hackathons. And then I'm going to stay on and talk with Emily and see if we have any questions.
Yeah, so we had 3 questions. One of them is a little bit general, but hopefully we can provide a good answer-ish. But the first question is, what is an idea generator?
An idea generator, sorry, I'm trying to not share my screen anymore. All right, an idea generator is someone who, they're the ones coming up with ideas. Maybe they're not necessarily technical. They can be technical, but normally we try to put people into types of participants. That way it's easier for them to find teams. So, but it's someone that maybe is thinking the big picture, or maybe they are someone that has that professional experience, like a healthcare professional, but they aren't technical, but they have the background to help other people on their teams.
Got it. Hopefully that provided a little bit more clarity around idea generator. Next question is, when the challenges are already defined, how can we solve just one problem?
So, that's a good question. There's a few things. A lot of times there might be an overall challenge. So say with the GSK hackathon, like they wanted to be able to give information and education to the public, but then they also had 3 targeted areas. And so the same thing with the supply chain hackathon that's going on. They are having, it might overall be about supply chain demand, right? But we're also targeting an area about healthcare, about food, about consumer goods. So there might be other ones within that same challenge, or there might be little different little things that solve it rather than just one big challenge. I hope that clarifies it a little bit.
If it doesn't, Francesca, let us know and we'll try to clarify it a little more. Sweet. All right, next one is, so this one has the most upvotes. So can we be invited as part of the audience to feel the vibe and build on ideas?
So it depends on the hackathon. Online, well, there's not really, you can do that. There's not a lot going on at the very beginning because it's not like you're in person and you're getting that same vibe, but you could always register and then pop in for the final demos to get an idea. In-person hackathons, it depends on the organizer. I would reach out to them and ask them, hey, is it all right if I come check it out? I don't think I'm ready for this. And it depends on their rules. I know a lot of times we let it happen as long as that's okay with our client. But it just, like, you kind of have to ask the organizers and see what it is. But honestly, I think you should go try it out anyways. Like, I don't think that if you're going to go take the time and check it out, it's way more fun to participate because you're kind of, if not, you're kind of weirdly in the background, like that kid that, like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, I'm just here, like, being weird. So it's just one of those things that just jump in. Like, the worst that can happen is it doesn't work out, and or it ends up being great. I think you get more out of it by just trying to participate.
Follow-up question is, and we have a few questions along this line, but how often do you see newbies attend hackathons? It seems like you need a bit of experience to be successful.
We see newbies all the time. It's normal. Part of my job is reaching out to universities. So students are really a big group that come to hackathons, because when you get to people that have been developers for 10 years, they do this all day, right? They don't want to go do this over the weekend. They don't have as much time. They have families. They have other obligations. So it's definitely a lot of newbies. We also, yes, like I mentioned, we have people that come all over the world sometimes to our hackathons, but it's not like you have to be like, oh my gosh, I've never attended one. We get them all the time, and we love newbies because they're the ones that want to come and check it out. So definitely join. Was there another part to that question?
Well, there's a different question, but it is actually a follow-up to this. What's the most junior level experience do you usually see on hackathon teams, and what's the typical time commitment for multi-week long events?
I've seen people that have just started at a boot camp, people that have just graduated from boot camps. I know that your guys' program is pretty demanding, and so it's hard to be doing both at the same time. So being done with your boot camp is a perfect, I would say, junior level. But I've had high schoolers show up to our hackathons. Normally we have age limitations where you have to be 18 or older because of prizes and legal stuff. But there's hackathons that happen all the time that high schoolers are even participating in. So you get a wide range of people participating as well. And then there was one part, sorry, what was the other part?
What's the typical time commitment for multi-week long events? Okay.
I would kind of still say along the lines of what you would do at a normal hackathon. So 24 to 48 hours. If you can, there's people that even if you give them the 5 weeks, they do it in a weekend. Like it just happens. Like there's people that do that. They like that feel of and that pressure, and everyone loves to procrastinate too. So that's a big thing. But yeah, like I would say a few hours a week, depending when you join, but I would say about 24 to 40 hours.
Awesome. How would UX research techniques like usability tests or interviews be executed on short hackathons, like ones that are 24 hours?
Yeah, because I've done some research on like design sprints and stuff, and you get a whole week to do those kind of things and do that research. So a big thing is also coming prepared with a few different ideas and doing some research beforehand. That's helpful. It depends on the hackathon, but there's going to be mentors on site. So asking them questions and their experience with those groups is helpful. With the social good hackathon with the Children's Tumor Foundation, they're most likely going to have some patients that you can get perspective with. So possibly connecting with those people and having some interviews that way, depending on the event and what format they have. But yeah, it's a little different. You don't get as much of the research, but that's why you do some research beforehand and then talk to the mentors and ask questions on site.
Awesome. Are there NDAs associated with any of the projects that are generated?
Normally, so our hackathons, we always push that the team has the IP. They keep their intellectual property. Like, we're not going to get people to attend hackathons if they don't get to keep what they've worked hard on. So normally there's not NDAs or anything like that. If you were to maybe, if the organizers might be interested in furthering your project or incubating it, that might be a different story. And that's a different conversation that's going to be had. But yeah, that's something to look at in the terms and conditions, is the wording of what you do get to keep and what you don't get to keep. Because there are some that they're trying to take your ideas. I'm sorry, like, there are people that are trying not to be good, but all of our hackathons, we make sure that we're on the developer side and the and participant side, that we want to make sure that you're keeping your IP.
That was a great question. A little bit more general. If someone is from Iraq, will there be opportunities for them to participate?
I know that, yes, that is something that has occurred. It depends on the hackathon. I would look at the terms and conditions and see if there are limitations. I know that we've had hackathons in the past that has been a country that has been limited, but just look at that. And if it's not there, then you're more than welcome to participate. That's the big thing, is, yeah, just at the bottom of all our websites, we have the terms and conditions. It tells you who's eligible and who's not, just like with that GS1 hackathon and it being US only. That was just a decision our client had made, and we decided that was what we're going with. But yeah, I know that there are some countries that have some limitations.
Awesome. And what is a good place to search for hackathons?
Well, just Googling, I definitely think DevPost is a really great website. People post a lot of hackathons on there. DevPost is actually a platform where people can submit their projects as well. So you can search location, or everything's online obviously right now, but you can do online too. And then, yeah, BeMyApp.com/events is where we host all of our stuff. I know that we have some other ones coming up in the pipeline as well. And our EU team has some too that I didn't expand on. So there's definitely some events. And then Facebook groups, like, there's lots of hackathon groups out there that you'd be surprised. Like, I'm in a lot of them. There's, I can't remember some of the names of them, but there's some in certain countries. There's some just in general instead. So you just kind of have to search, and you type in the word hackathon, you'll get stuff that pops up. Don't worry.
All right. And this one may be, I think this one might be either a both of us answer, or probably like a sharing of our opinions. But a question a little bit more general: is it worth including a hackathon project that's basically happening in such a short time frame in your portfolio? Just more unsure if hiring managers would like to see it. I have my own take on it, but wondering if you do.
Well, I think you have a little more information on the UX side of things and the resumes. I think it depends also how many, in general with resumes, is how many things you have listed on your stuff. Like, if you have things that are stronger, don't list it. Like, it's like, if there's something that's going to outweigh that and it's taking up room on your resume, then it's something to exclude. If you want a hackathon, maybe it's an achievement that you just put at the bottom, like, or it's something that you just participated in. You can always put that in a section if you have that. I think a big thing is just more the experience that you're able to use when you go into an interview instead.
Yep. And I will share my insight on that question. So I think it's worth including in your portfolio. I've seen folks have an actual hackathon section in their portfolio that's either under or next to the projects that you're actually working on. And just kind of going off of what Louisa just said, it really just, I think it's valuable because it actually shows that number one, you can work on a team. Number two, you can actually work within a tight deadline. And number three, it actually will demonstrate your thought process in working with the team and on the project itself. So, if you're able to come up with ideas and solutions in a really short amount of time, that really speaks to your thought process and just your workflow, your overall workflow. So I think it is worth including in at least your portfolio. I like what Louisa said, I don't know if it's worth putting it in your resume unless it's just something that you feel like is very relevant to either the position that you're applying to. So let's say you do a hackathon that's around something healthcare, right? It's related to healthcare, and you're applying to a company that's healthcare related. I think that's worth noting in your resume, because at least you're telling them like, hey, I worked on something where it allowed me to think in, in that space. So I think it's worth it. I just think it's more of figuring out the balance of where it actually belongs. So your portfolio or your resume. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There was one specific question about the GS1.
Okay.
And it's basically asking, GS1 does not have a webinar tomorrow morning, and do I submit a research study?
So it is tomorrow. It was by invite. So if the person registered already, I'll make sure that my team sends out an email in the morning to all the people that may have registered later, since they've sent that one email. It's not hosted on the platform that we are hosting the event, because with this one, you're going to be able to talk, and so the platform that we have doesn't have the capability of having a conversation like how Emily and I are having.
Yeah, so yeah, there was just a lot more follow up about the research study, and or would it be a prototype too? Like, what's the expectation for that project specifically?
For the
GS1,
like what you actually submit at the end, or at the team formation?
Waiting for the response now. But switching gears, we'll come back and follow up on. Actually, hold on.
Oh,
let's see.
I'm on the GS1. So yeah, it's when you sign up for the event and you've registered on the platform, we're sending out emails and doing it that way. There are some activities that aren't included in the agenda that we do conduct, because we also know that it's important for people to form teams, especially being in an online format. So it's not like you're in person and you can have these interactions. And so just having these conversations separately. So our team sometimes goes above and beyond what's expected, so that we can make sure that people are forming teams.
Sweet. And then we had one more question that came in. How would one better pitch themselves as a product designer to get into a team?
People don't really go into much detail of like the tools they know. They don't go into saying, I know Figma, I know Sketch. They just really just say, I am a designer. Maybe if they've had a few years under their belt, telling them like, I have 2 years of experience. It's okay to tell people that you're new too. It's not, it happens. Like there's people all had to start at one point, right? But I think also finding skills that aren't just your UX experience are helpful too. Like I said, if in your past career, if something is helpful, or you've had this experience, or you know someone personally that has went through NF, like if you for some reason have had that, then that's experience that you can add to it. Just being confident and just being like, and being prepared and excited to be there, I think is a big thing. So, and then afterwards, like you've had that, then just being available to have conversations with other people, and like listening to those idea pitches, and then maybe you can approach other people and then listening to them and seeing if they are looking for UX designers. So then you got to go talk to that person afterwards because they mentioned they wanted a UX designer.
And then a general question, how to get into a team. I'm assuming that's dependent on the project itself, and it's just more of letting people know that you're here and all that stuff.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, it's dependent on the project.
I'm going to send David my LinkedIn because he wanted it.
Sweet. And then we had a question earlier and it was more of, could we get a link to a shared version of the deck, the presentation?
Yeah, I can send that over to you, Emily, after the.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Those are all the questions. Hopefully this was helpful for everyone. Just to get a little bit more insight as to like what hackathons are, like what to expect. I know it can seem a little daunting, especially, if you're going to be working with developers who have been developers for a very long time, and you may just be starting out, but trust me, like everyone, I feel like in hackathons they're there because they're excited about it and they want the experience. So everyone's going to be there to help each other make sure that they succeed in these projects.
Definitely. I have people that are helping other people on their projects too. Like if they have a little bit of experience with something and maybe need a little bit of Python, like a Python developer might help their team. So it's not unheard of that just because you're competing that people are just like, no, I'm not going to help you. Like, no, they want to be at hackathons. They love hackathons and they want to engage with others that want to participate in hackathons. So.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I think that is it. This was awesome. Thank you, Louisa, so much for putting this together. I learned a lot about hackathons that I also didn't really know. So this is amazing. So I know that there were some questions, so I will reiterate, this is recorded. So because you have signed up for this event, you will get a recording of this in your email, but this will also be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And then because it's actually under an hour, I might actually be able to upload it to Instagram live. So we might have it in a repository there too. But posting links to our YouTube channel and our handle for Instagram in the chat. So yeah, feel free, check us out on YouTube. Like check out BeMyApp, the webpage. There's so many events that you can take a look at. A lot of them actually just say online challenge. So you know, just know that even though we are mostly remote, that there's still a lot to be learned and a lot to be gained from a lot of this.
Yes, for sure. Oh, do you know the poll results?
Oh, poll results. So if you haven't voted quickly, just vote in the polls. Basically, we're just trying to just get a sense for how familiar people are with hackathons, if you've ever participated, and would you consider participating in one now that you've kind of heard more information about it? Sweet. This is awesome. So it looks like the majority of folks have not participated, but this is awesome. But the heck yes, would you consider is growing. It is growing. The maybe looks and sounds intriguing is also growing. So that's awesome. We had no heck no's. So that's amazing. Yay! But yeah, cool. Thank you so much, everyone, again, for being here. That's awesome. Gita just signed up, so it's amazing. So yeah, if anyone is participating and you are part of Designlab, like keep us posted. Like let us know how you felt that the experience went. Like if there's anything related to the logistics of even the event itself, like let us know. Like I'm sure Louisa and I can pass that on, and then it's feedback. We're in UX, product. It's always about feedback. So anything you experience, like absolutely share with us. Really excited.
So our team, we welcome feedback and we want to make our events better in the future.
Yep. And if you are going to like work on any of these hackathons specifically through BeMyApp, if you want to take pictures and then tag both BeMyApp and Designlab, like on Instagram and stuff, like that would be awesome because I'm sure they'd love to see it.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Great. Happy almost Friday, everyone. We are done. Like I said, this is all recorded, so everyone will have access to this in some way, shape, or form. And if you have any questions, feel free to ping me if you're part of Designlab. If not, respond to one of the emails that you get, and it should come to us as well. But awesome. Thank you. We'll see everyone later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Louisa.